Hello students, today we will study exercise numericals of unit 1. In that, question number 1 is calculate the molecular mass of the following. So number 1 is water H2O. So that is equal to 2 times hydrogen plus oxygen. So that is equal to 2 times 1 plus 16. So that is equal to 2 plus 16 equal to 18 U. So that is the molecular mass of water. So in order to find out molecular mass, we should know the atomic mass. Carbon dioxide, so we have 1 carbon plus 2 oxygen. Now for carbon, the atomic mass is 12 plus 2 times the atomic mass of oxygen is 16. So that is equal to 12 plus 32. So that is equal to 44 U. Now number 3 is methane, CH4. So that is equal to 1 carbon plus 4 hydrogen. So that is equal to 12 plus 4 times 1. So equal to 12 plus 4 equal to 16 U. Question number 2 is calculate the mass percent of different elements present in sodium sulfate. Formula is Na2SO4. So in order to find out mass percentage, first of all we should know molar mass of sodium sulfate. So molar mass of Na2SO4 equal to 2 times Na plus S plus 4 times oxygen. That is equal to 2 times, now Na is having atomic mass 23 plus sulfur, so that is 32 plus 4 times 16. So that is equal to 23 2s are 46 plus 32 plus 16 4s are 64 equal to 144 gram per mole. So that is not 144, 142 gram per mole. 142 gram per mole. Now we have to find out percentage of different elements. Suppose we have to find out percentage of sodium. So that is equal to, in the numerator we have to take atomic mass of sodium. Now here in case of sodium sulfate we have 2 moles of sodium. So molar mass of single sodium is 23, that you have to multiply with 2. And in the denominator we have to take the molar mass of sodium sulfate, that is 142 into 100%. So when you will calculate this, your final answer will be 32.4%. That is the percentage of sodium. Now we have to find out percentage of sulfur. So in the numerator you have to take the molar mass of the element whose percentage is to be found. So for sulfur we are having only one sulfur in sodium sulfate, so we have to take only 1 time 32 divided by molar mass of sodium sulfate, so that is 142 into 100%. So when you will solve this, your final answer will be 22.6%. Now we have to find out percentage of oxygen. So percentage of oxygen is equal to, now here how many times we have oxygen in sodium sulfate? 4 times. So here we have to take 4 times. Now atomic mass of single oxygen is 16. So 4 times 16 divided by molar mass of sodium sulfate, that is 142 into 100%. So our final answer will be 45.05%. So these are the three answers of the percentage of elements. Now next question. Now question number 1.3 and 1.8 are same only. In question number 1.3 we have to find out empirical formula, while in question number 1.8 we have to find molecular formula of an oxide of iron. So if it is asked up to empirical formula, then that question will be of 2 marks in the exam, and if they are asking up to molecular formula, then it is of 3 marks. So same question is there, but here you have to write up to empirical formula and here you have to write up to molecular formula. So let us see how to solve this. So first of all we have to make a table. In that, in the first column we have to take element. So here we are having iron and oxygen as elements. So iron Fe, oxygen capital O. In the second column we have to take mass of the element. So what is the mass of iron? That is 56 gram. Sorry, that is the molar mass. Mass you have to take the percentage as mass. So here 69.9 is the percentage, so that will become mass. So mass of iron given is 69.9 gram. And for oxygen mass will be 30.1 gram. Now molar mass we have to take in the third column. Now what is the molar mass of iron? So that is 56, and molar mass of oxygen is 16. Now in the fourth column we have to take number of moles. Now number of moles is nothing but mass upon molar mass. So what you have to do to find out number of moles? You have to divide second column by third column. So in second column mass is 69.9 gram, molar mass is 56, so 69.9 upon 56, so that will be approximately equal to 1.25. and in case of oxygen 30.1 divided by 16, so it is nearly equal to 1.88. Then we have to find out simple ratio. So in case of simple ratio, what you have to do is you have to see that which of the two number of moles is smallest. So 1.25 is smallest, so that smallest number of moles we have to divide by both of them. So you have to divide 1.25 by both of them, so that is equal to 1, and here 1.88 divided by 1.25, so that is nearly equal to 1.5. Now here oxygen is in decimal point, so in order to make it a whole number you have to multiply it with 2. So in that case we have to multiply both of them with 2, so this will become 3 and this will become 2. So what will be the empirical formula of oxide of iron? So that is equal to, now here iron is, the simple ratio of iron is 2 and simple ratio of oxygen is 3. So we have to write Fe2O3. So empirical formula is Fe2O3. Now we have to find out molecular formula. So here you can see that if question number 1.3 is there, then you have to solve up to this, and in question number 1.8 you have to proceed further. Now from empirical formula we have to find out empirical formula mass. Now empirical formula mass equal to, now here empirical formula is Fe2O3, so 2 times Fe plus 3 times O. So that is equal to 2 times atomic mass of Fe 56 plus 3 times atomic mass of oxygen 16. So that is equal to 112 plus 48. So that is equal to 160 gram. Now we have to find out small n, that is simple ratio, common multiple. So we have to find out small n, common multiple. So that is equal to molar mass divided by empirical formula mass. So molar mass you have to take in the numerator and empirical formula mass in the denominator. Now in the question, molar mass of oxide is given as 159.69. So that will be in the numerator. And empirical formula mass we have found is 160. So both numerator and denominator are approximately same, nearly same, so n will be equal to 1. Now we have to find out molecular formula. Now molecular formula equal to n times empirical formula. Now n is 1 and empirical formula is Fe2O3. Now when you multiply 1 with Fe2O3, it will again come out as 1 only. So 1 into Fe2O3, so that will come out as Fe2O3 only. So molecular formula is also Fe2O3. Now question 1.4 is calculate the amount of carbon dioxide that could be produced when 1 mole of carbon is burnt in air. Now here we will see that what is the reaction of combustion of carbon. C plus O2 gives CO2. So in first one, 1 mole of carbon is burnt. Now 1 mole of carbon is burnt. So here already number of moles of carbon is 1 only in the equation. So we can see that carbon dioxide formed is also 1 mole. But we have to find out the amount of carbon dioxide in gram. So for carbon it is 12 plus 2 times, for oxygen it is 16. So that is equal to 44 gram. So our first answer is 44 gram carbon dioxide is produced. Number 2. Now for number 2 again we have to write the same equation. Now here it is written 1 mole of carbon is burnt in 16 gram oxygen. Now here you can see that according to the balanced equation, 1 mole of carbon reacts with 32 gram oxygen, okay, because 2 oxygen are there, so 32 gram. But here instead of 32 gram we have only 16 gram oxygen. In a balanced equation, 32 gram oxygen produces 44 gram carbon dioxide. Now again in the given situation, amount of carbon is same only, there is 1 mole. But oxygen, instead of 32 it is 16. So here oxygen is a limiting reagent. So because of the half amount of oxygen, the carbon dioxide form will also be half, that is 22 gram. So this is our answer. So amount of product formed depends upon the limiting reagent. So we can see that 32 gram oxygen produces 44 gram carbon dioxide. Now 16 gram is the half of 32. So carbon dioxide formed will also be half, that is 22 gram. Now number 3. C plus O2 gives CO2. Now in number 3, 2 moles of carbon are burnt in 16 gram dioxygen. So that means you have to multiply the whole equation with 2. So now we will see that 2 mole of carbon is there. So against 2 mole of carbon, oxygen should be 2 into O2. That means 2 into 32. That is 64 gram oxygen should be there. Then only carbon dioxide will be 88 gram. But here we have only 16 gram oxygen. So that means amount of oxygen is less than the required amount. So in that case, the amount of carbon dioxide formed will be obtained by cross multiplication. So that will be 16 into 88 upon 64. So that is equal to 22 gram carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide formed will be 22 gram. So let us see the next question. Number 5. Calculate the mass of sodium acetate required to make 500 ml of 0.375 molar aqueous solution. Molar mass of sodium acetate is 82.0245 gram per mole. So here we have to find out mass of sodium acetate from molarity. 0.375 molar means it is molarity. Now the equation of molarity is mass of solute. So here we have to take mass of sodium acetate divided by molar mass of sodium acetate into, now here in question volume of solution is given in ml. So in the denominator volume of solution is in ml. So that means in numerator we have to multiply with 1000. So the equation of molarity equal to mass of sodium acetate upon molar mass of sodium acetate into 1000 upon volume of solution in ml. Now molarity given is 0.375. Mass of sodium acetate we have to find out. In the denominator molar mass of sodium acetate is 82.0245 into 1000 divided by volume of solution in ml is 500. So 500 2s are 1000. Now we have to make W as a subject. So in that case we have W equal to 0.375. 82.0245 will go in the numerator on the other side and 2 will go in the denominator. So on solving this, our final answer is 15.38 gram. So 15.38 gram of sodium acetate is used. Now next question is number 6. Calculate the concentration of nitric acid in moles per liter. That means we have to find out molarity in a sample which has a density 1.41 gram per ml and the mass percent of nitric acid in it being 69%. Weight by weight nitric acid means 69 gram nitric acid in 100 gram solution. Now density of solution is given. From density we have to find out volume of solution. So volume of solution is equal to mass of solution upon density of solution. Now mass of solution is 100 gram upon density of solution is 1.41. So when you divide 100 by 1.41, so that is equal to 70.92 ml. Now we have to find out molar mass of nitric acid. So that is equal to H plus N plus 3 times O equal to 1 plus 14 plus 3 times 16. So that is equal to 63 gram per mole. Now molarity equal to mass of nitric acid, that is 69 gram, upon molar mass of nitric acid 63 into, now here we have to take volume of solution in ml, that's why we have to multiply 1000. So into 1000 upon volume of solution in ml, so that is 70.92. So on solving this, our final answer is 15.44 molar. Now next question, number 7. How much copper can be obtained from 100 gram of copper sulfate? So here we will see that from copper sulfate we have to find out the amount of copper formed. Now according to the molar mass of copper sulfate will be atomic mass of copper 63.5 plus atomic mass of sulfur 32 plus 4 times atomic mass of oxygen 16, so 16 4s are 64. So that will be equal to 159.5 gram. Atomic mass or molar mass of copper is 63.5 gram. So that means from 159.5 gram copper sulfate we get 63.5 gram copper. Now here we have 100 gram copper sulfate. So from 100 gram copper sulfate what amount of copper will be formed? So we have to do cross multiplication. So 100 into 63.5 divided by 159.5. So our final answer will be 39.81 gram copper. Now the next question is, so question 8 we have already discussed. So let us see question number 9. Calculate the average atomic mass of chlorine using the following data. So there are two isotopes of chlorine. So their percentage natural abundance is given and their molar mass is given. So we have to find out average atomic mass of chlorine. Average atomic mass of chlorine equal to we have to take the percentage of particular isotope, that is 75.77%, and you have to multiply that with the corresponding molar mass, so 34.9689. Similarly, we have to take the percentage natural abundance of the second isotope, so that is 24.23%, and multiply it with the corresponding molar mass, that is 36.9659. And in between you have to put plus sign. So always in between you have to take the plus sign. So that is equal to 75.77. Now in order to remove the percentage sign we have to divide it by 100 into 34.9689, then plus 24.23. Now here also, in order to remove the percentage sign, we have to divide by 100 into 36.9659. So on solving, you will get 26.4959 plus 8.9568, and on adding these two we will get 35.4527 U. That is the average atomic mass of chlorine. Now the next question is, now question number 10 is, in 3 moles of ethane calculate the following. So we are having 3 moles of ethane. Number 1, number of moles of carbon atoms. So here you can see that we are having 3 into 2, that is 6 moles of carbon atoms. Now number 2, number of moles of hydrogen atoms. So here we are having 3 into 6, that is 18 moles of hydrogen atoms. And number 3 is number of molecules of ethane. Now in 1 mole of ethane, number of molecules will be equal to Avogadro number. Now here we are having 3 moles of ethane, so there will be 3 times Avogadro number of molecules. So that is equal to 3 into 6.022 into 10 raised to 23. So that is equal to 18.066 into 10 raised to 23 molecules. So these are our 3 answers. Now next question is question number 11. What is the concentration of sugar in mole per liter? That means molarity if its 20 gram are dissolved in enough water to make the final volume to 2 liters. So here we have to find out molarity of sugar solution. Now first of all we have to find out molar mass of sugar. That is molar mass of C12H22O11. So it is equal to 12 times 12 plus 22 times 1 plus 11 times 16. So that will be equal to 342 gram per mole. Now molarity equal to mass of solute, so that is 20 gram upon molar mass of solute, that is 342, into 1 upon volume of solution in liters, so that is 2. So on solving this, our final answer will be 0.02925 molar. Now next question is number 12. If the density of methanol is 0.793 kilogram per liter, what is its volume needed for making 2.5 liters of its 0.25 molar solution? Now here you have to remember that these last two conditions are V2 and M2, and the volume which we have to find is V1. So at the end of the question we are having M2 V2, V1 we have to find, and the equation which we have to use is M1 V1 equal to M2 V2, where M1 and V1 are the initial molarity and volumes and M2 and V2 are final molarity and volume. Now in order to find out V1 we require M2, V2 and M1. M2 and V2 are already given in the question, so just we have to find out M1, that is molarity, initial molarity. For that, first of all we have to find out molar mass of methanol. Now formula of methanol is CH3OH. So that is equal to 12 plus 3 ones are 3 plus 4 oxygen 16 plus hydrogen 1. So that will come out as 32 gram per mole. Now we have to find out molarity M1. So molarity M1 equal to, now in the question density is given as 0.793 kilogram per liter. So that can be written as 793 gram per liter. Okay. So when you remove kilo, so decimal point will be removed. So 793 gram per liter. Now the equation of molarity is mass of solute, that is mass of methanol, upon molar mass of methanol into 1 upon volume of solution in liters. Now here you can see that mass of methanol is in gram and volume of solution is in liter. So instead of gram per liter, that is mass upon volume in liter, can we write 793 gram per liter? Okay. So that's why we have converted density in gram per liter. Okay. So instead of mass upon volume in liter, we can write down 793 divided by molar mass of methanol is 32. So 793 upon 32, that is equal to 24.78 molar. So now in order to find out V1, we will put the three values. So M2 is 0.25, V2 is 2.5 liters and M1 is 24.78. So on solving this, we will get 0.02522. Now here V2 is in liter, so V1 will also be in liter. And when you take decimal point 3 digits towards right, so you will get 25.22 milliliters. So in milliliters answer is 25.22. Now let us see the next question. Number 17. A sample of drinking water was found to be severely contaminated with chloroform CHCl3, supposed to be carcinogenic in nature. Carcinogenic means cancer producing. The level of contamination was 15 parts per million by mass. Express these in percentage by mass, that is percentage weight by weight. And number 2 is determine the molality of chloroform in the water sample. Now here 15 ppm chloroform is there. So 15 ppm means 15 parts chloroform in 1 million parts solution, and 1 million means 10⁶. So in 10⁶ parts solution. Now in first we have to find out percentage by mass. So number 1 is percentage weight by weight. So that is equal to mass of solute, that is mass of chloroform, divided by mass of solution into 100%. So that is equal to, now mass of chloroform can be taken as 15 gram and mass of solution can be taken as 10 raised to 6 gram into 100%. So gram will be cancelled. So 15 into 10 raised to 6 in the numerator will become 10 raised to minus 6, and already we have 100, that is 10 raised to 2, so that will become 10 raised to minus 4%, and in scientific notation it will become 1.5 into 10 raised to minus 3%. That is our first answer. Now in second we have to find out molality of chloroform. So for that we require molar mass of chloroform. So molar mass of chloroform equal to, for carbon 12, for hydrogen 1, plus 3 times for chlorine 35.5. So that will be equal to 119.5 gram per mole. Now we have to find out molality. So molality equal to mass of chloroform upon molar mass of chloroform into 1000 upon mass of solvent in gram. So when you have multiplied 1000, then we have to take mass of solvent in gram, and mass of chloroform is also in gram. Now here you can see that 15 parts chloroform in 10 raised to 6 parts solution, so 15 gram can be taken in 10 raised to 6 gram. So mass of chloroform 15 gram, molar mass of chloroform 119.5 into 1000 upon mass of solvent in gram. Now here the amount of chloroform, which is 15 gram, is very negligible as compared to 10 raised to 6 gram. So in that case we can consider that the mass of solute is negligible. So whatever will be the mass of solution, same will be the mass of solvent. So you can take 10 raised to 6 gram as the mass of solvent. So that will be equal to 1.25 into 10 raised to minus 4 molal. So that is our final answer. Now next question is number 24. Dinitrogen and dihydrogen reacts with each other to produce ammonia according to the following equation: N2 plus 3H2 gives 2NH3. Number 1. Calculate the mass of ammonia produced if 2 into 10 raised to 3 gram dinitrogen reacts with 1 into 10 raised to 3 gram of dihydrogen. Now here we have to find out mass of ammonia, and the mass of ammonia will depend upon the limiting reagent. So first of all we have to find out limiting reagent. Out of the two reactants, nitrogen and hydrogen, which will be the limiting reagent? Now in the question we have been given 2 into 10 raised to 3 gram nitrogen. So 2 into 10 raised to 3 gram nitrogen is given. From that we have to find out what should be the mass of hydrogen. Now from balanced equation we have 2 times nitrogen, so that will be 28 gram nitrogen, and we have 3 into H2, so it will be 3 2s are 6 times hydrogen, so 6 gram of hydrogen. So 28 gram nitrogen reacts with 6 gram hydrogen. Now in our question the amount of nitrogen is 2 into 10 raised to 3 gram. So 2 into 10 raised to 3 gram nitrogen should react with what amount of hydrogen? That we have to find out by cross multiplication. So 2 into 10 raised to 3 into 6 upon 28. So on calculating this you will get 0.4286 into 10 raised to 3 gram hydrogen. Now here you will see that according to the balanced equation, 0.4286 gram into 10 raised to 3 gram hydrogen should be used against the given amount of nitrogen, but the given amount of hydrogen is 1 into 10 raised to 3. Now 10 raised to 3 is same, okay, in both the cases. So just you have to compare the first number, so that is 0.4286 should react, but given is 1 into 10 raised to 3, so the given amount is more than the required amount of hydrogen. That means hydrogen is in excess, so in that case limiting reagent will be nitrogen, okay. So therefore nitrogen is the limiting reagent. So that means the amount of ammonia formed will depend upon nitrogen. So again you have to write down the balanced equation. So N2 plus 3H2 gives 2NH3. Now 14 2s are 28 gram nitrogen reacts with hydrogen to form 2NH3. Now for NH3, for nitrogen 14 plus 3 17 into 2, so that is 34 gram ammonia. So 28 gram nitrogen gives 34 gram ammonia. Now the given amount of nitrogen is 2 into 10 raised to 3 gram. So what amount of ammonia should be formed? So when you will do cross multiplication, two into 10 raised to 3 into 34 divided by 28. So on solving this, you will get 2428.57 gram ammonia. So this is our first answer. Now number 2 is, will any of the two reactants remain unaffected? So yes, which of the two reagents will remain unaffected? नहीं है, unreacted, ठीक है. तो will any of the two reactants remain unreacted? Yes. So hydrogen is in excess, so hydrogen will remain unreacted. So number 3 is, if yes, which one? The answer is hydrogen. And what would be its mass? So we have to find out the amount of hydrogen left or unreacted. So amount of hydrogen unreacted equal to, now initially we have 1 into 10 raised to 3 gram hydrogen, out of which the amount reacted is 0.4286 into 10 raised to 3 gram. So this is the amount which is reacted according to a balanced equation. So when you will take out 10 raised to 3 as common, we have 1 minus 0.4286. So that is equal to 0.5714 into 10 raised to 3. So that is equal to 571.4 gram hydrogen. So this is the mass of hydrogen which is left unreacted. So these are our 3 answers. That's all for today.